headlines are all pretty drastic, but let's have a look at what actually happened in 2025 in the 100-mile market. So the short version is we sold 284 residential properties, and in 2024 it was 291. So residential sales were down a little bit. Now, land sales in 2025 was 109, and in 2024 was 60 units. So land sales were up and overall sales numbers were up, but last year it was 2025, it was more land than the year before. As for prices, in the residential side, the median sales price was down 30,000 and the average was actually off by, it was like $36. For the median sales price on the land side, though, we saw land prices come down about 8,000. So down across the board, but very slightly. None of it's as dramatic as the stuff that you're seeing out of the coast. So there's the short version. If you want the longer version, stick around. Let's have a look. But if you'd also like to know what all of this means for you and your story and your move, feel free to reach out anytime. We can have that chat. So let's get into the details of it. We are going to share my screen, and I'm just going to walk you guys through some of the stats through the stat center here. So let's have a look. You can see here we're looking at the 100-mile house board area, and we are 3 years on a month-to-month basis. So this is looking at the sales numbers. You can see they're pretty average, and they do really have that annual cycle that you can see. And this is important for buyers and sellers both, how to place yourself well in that annual cycle. Active listings, I'm going to switch this. Well, this tells the same story. You can see the listings peak through the summer and drop down through the winter because nobody really wants to move. But overall, you see that the active listings are up. So that's a leading indicator that next year's probably not going to be much different than last year. Last year, it was slow and steady. The year before, it was slow and steady. Next year, I think, is going to be slow and steady again. It's going to be interesting to see how the mill closure plays into this. I think it'll have more of an effect in and around town, but I'm not sure it's going to have a huge giant effect. So we'll have to wait and see there. When we look at days on market, this is also a leading indicator. So it tells us where we're going. I'll take the noise out of this. So our rolling 12-month average says days on market are down a little bit. They're not where they were when the market was hot. So maybe we will see some tightening. Maybe prices will stay the same instead of come slightly down, but we'll have to wait and see. Month supply, you can see we're going to be pretty much where we've been for the last couple of months. The one I always like to talk about here is if we go back to the maximum, you can see the height of the markets, this 2012 sort of timeline. Month supply back then was 32. That's kind of outrageous. What we're looking for is like 6-month supply is considered a balanced or healthy market. When you start to get more than that, you get into the buyer's territory, and less than that is a seller's market. So right now we're at 11. So a little bit of buyer territory going on there. When you pop it back into monthly, you'll see in the summer we were 15 and now we're down to 7. That has a lot to do with the inventory numbers. Sales prices, I'm going to drop this back to 3 years and the rolling average because that's pretty noisy. Hey, there you go. So your sales prices have been pretty much the same since 2024. You'll see they had a bit of a up here tick, which is why we're probably down, why we're down a little bit this year as opposed to last year. But you can see the sales prices have been pretty steady for the last couple of years. So what does that all mean for you? Well, it's going to depend. If you're a buyer, it means something different than if you're a seller. But it means I don't think that the market's going to do anything super interesting next year. A lot of the terrible news we've had out of the market was Vancouver, and that's where a lot of our buyers come from. Now, there are always the buyers who live here and have to move for whatever reason. They're still going to be around. But if you'd like to know specifically what this means for you, reach out to me anytime. I'm always happy to help. You can book a 15-minute discovery call and we can just talk about what it means for you and how you can best play your hand. I'm Amanda with eXp Realty, and I'm here to help.